Good morning, guys. Wish you happy new year, all of you. Is my voice audible for everyone? Guys, can you hear my voice? Yeah. Perfect. Guys, in the last session, we discussed about how many types of applications we can develop by using Java. So by using Java, we can develop three types of applications, guys: standalone applications, web applications, and distributed applications. So what is a distributed application? If one application is communicating with another application, then we will call it as a distributed application. Why one application should communicate with the another application? For code reusability and for loosely coupling purpose, one application is going to communicate with the another application. As I told you, one example yesterday, IBM people developed one application to get the weather information from the satellite. So they spend 2 years of time, 5 crores of money to develop that project. I'm also having a same requirement. So instead of spending 2 years of time, 5 crores of money, I can communicate with the IBM application to get the same service. Whatever they have implemented, I can reuse it. So instead of redeveloping the entire logic again, we can reuse the logic by using distributed application. So Ashok IT application will communicate with the IBM application to get the weather information. IBM application will communicate with the satellite to get the data. So like this, Ashok IT is reusing the logic which is already available in the IBM. So this is called distributed application. We can save the time and we can save the money when we go for this distributed application concept. Code reusability. And another one is loosely coupling. Nowadays, people are not developing everything in one application. If you develop everything in one application, that will become monolithic architecture. To overcome the problems with the monolith, people are going for microservices. Front-end application will be separate, back-end applications will be separate. In the back-end, multiple REST APIs will be available. Those are called as distributed applications only. Okay, so for code reusability, for loosely coupling, we are going for distributed application. When we go for distributed application, two actors will be available. One is called as a provider, another one is called as a consumer. So the application which is giving the services to other application is called as a provider application. In our scenario, IRCTC is acting as a provider, MakeMyTrip is acting as a consumer. So when you go for distributed application development, mainly two actors will be available. Mainly two actors will be available. So one is called provider, another one is called consumer. So the application which is giving the services to other application is called provider. The application which is taking the services from the other application is called as a consumer application. Provider will be available and consumer will be available. This provider and consumer may be developed by using same technology or may be developed by using different technology. So here, distributed applications should have interoperability. Irrespective of the platform, irrespective of the language, two applications should be able to communicate. Then we are going to call them as interoperable applications. How do we achieve interoperability? Consumer and provider will communicate by using XML or JSON as a mediator. Consumer application will send the JSON data to the provider application. Provider application also will send the JSON data to the consumer application. This JSON is very lightweight and it is universal format. Okay. Now we are going for JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. In distributed applications, we will use JSON as a mediator between consumer and provider. So what is this JSON? It is interoperable. It is very lightweight. It will represent data in the key value format. JSON data will be available like this. Key value. Key will be available in the double quotes. If the value is a string, that also will be available in the double quotes. Right. Now, how do we use this JSON data in the Java applications? To use JSON data in the Java applications, there is a API called Jackson API is available. So that is a third-party API. By using this Jackson API, we can convert Java application to Java object to JSON data to Java object by using this Jackson API. Inside the Jackson API, we are having object mapper. By using that object mapper, we can convert Java object to JSON data to Java object. Now here, if you understand the example, Make My Trip application acting as a consumer, IRCTC acting as a provider. When the customer want to book a train ticket in the Make My Trip application will take the customer data, will send it to the IRCTC in the JSON format. IRCTC will read that JSON, will book the ticket, will send the ticket data to the Make My Trip again in the JSON format. So Make My Trip will send that JSON data back to the UI and it will present in the beautiful with user interface. So here, whatever the customer data they are giving, that customer data will be coming in the form of object. That object will be converted to JSON. That JSON will go to the IRCTC. What will happen at the IRCTC? At the IRCTC, JSON data will be converted to object. Then the ticket will be booked with the object data. Once it is completed, then from the IRCTC side, that object will be converted back to JSON. Ticket object will be converted to JSON. JSON will be sent to the Make My Trip. Then at the Make My Trip, what will happen? That JSON data again will be converted to object. Then it will represent the data in the user interface. So now you see here, guys, there are so many operations are happening. See here, there are so many operations are available. Okay. So first client will go to Make My Trip application. Client will give the data. That data will be coming in the form of object to the Make My Trip. That object will be converted to JSON at the Make My Trip. JSON data will be sent to the IRCTC application. Then what this IRCTC application will do? IRCTC application will convert the JSON data to object format and will execute the logic. Then finally it will book the ticket. Ticket object will be converted to JSON. That JSON data will be sent to the client. Here, that JSON data will be converted back to Java, back to the object format that will be sent to the response. So at the consumer side and provider side, object will be converted to JSON. JSON will be converted to object. So how do we do these conversions? That's where Jackson API coming into picture. Jackson API is used to convert JSON data to Java object to the JSON data. Are you guys able to understand why we need to do the conversions and where we need to do the conversions from object to JSON and JSON to object? End user will go to Make My Trip, will fill the form to book the ticket. Form data will go to the Make My Trip in the form of object. It cannot send the object to the IRCTC. That object passenger data object will be available. It should be converted to JSON. JSON should go to IRCTC. IRCTC will convert the JSON to object and will execute the logic to book the ticket. Once the booking is completed, ticket object will be available. Ticket object will be converted to JSON in the IRCTC. Ticket JSON will go to the Make My Trip. Make My Trip will take the ticket JSON, will convert to ticket object and will send to the UI. In the UI, ticket information will be displayed to the end user. Are you guys clear with the role of JSON in the distributed applications? Are you guys clear with the role of distributed application? Are you guys clear with the role of JSON in the distributed application? will be used as a mediator to send the data from one application to another application. Okay. Now, how do we deal with that JSON data in our projects? Okay. So let me create one Java project and let me use Jackson API to understand this. Let me create one Java project and let us see how do we convert Java object to JSON, JSON to Java object. So as you see in the diagram, without having the knowledge on the JSON, developing the REST APIs will become very, very difficult. Okay, cool. So let's go to the project. Let me create a simple Maven project, then add the Jackson dependency in that project, and let's do the operations. Okay, project we need to create, guys. Create a Maven project. Create a simple Maven project. Group ID. I'm using in.ashok IT. Artifact ID. So 01 Jackson app. Click on finish. All right. Project got created. Go to pom.xml. We need to add the dependency in the pom.xml. Okay. Let me take the dependencies. Yeah. We need to take the Jackson dependency. Go to mvnrepository.com. Go to mvnrepository.com. Get the Jackson dependency. Jackson data bind. Okay. Let's take this Jackson data bind. Let's add this dependency in our pom.xml. Let's add this dependency in the pom.xml. That's it, guys. So we are able to add one dependency in the pom.xml. We're able to add one dependency in the pom.xml. Okay. Now, let me create one Java class. Let me create one Java class to represent the data. Okay. So let me take one class with a name called customer to represent the data in the form of object. Customer class I'm taking. In this class, let us take some variables: customer ID, customer name, customer email. Right. So I'm taking three variables inside the customer class. Let us write some constructor. You can use Lombok also, guys. Generate, then toString method. Okay. Customer class created. Zero param constructor. I want parameterized constructor also. Generate customer object using fields. Okay, good. Now, so here we are having a customer class, variables available, zero param constructor, parameterized constructor, setter getter methods available, and toString method is also available. Now, let me create one Java class. Let me create one Java class, object to JSON convert. Convert object to JSON, just like this. So I'm taking one class which is responsible to perform object conversion to JSON format. So let me take a main method. Inside the main method, first let us create the object for the customer class. Customer C is equal to new customer. For this customer, set some data: customer ID, customer name, and a customer email. Good. So by using constructor, I am creating the object and I am initializing that object also. Any confusion as of now? Creating a project, adding the dependency, Guys, do you have any confusion as of now? Yeah. So we created one object, right? Customer class I have taken. I created one Java project. In the Java project, I added Jackson dependency in the pom.xml, Jackson data bind. I have taken this dependency from mvnrepository.com. Then I created one simple Java class, which is having three variables, zero param constructor, parameter as a constructor is available. Now I'm trying to convert that object to JSON format. So customer C is equal to new customer. Then we need to convert object to JSON. Convert object to JSON format. How do we convert that object to JSON format? So for that, they have provided a class called object mapper. As we discussed in the last session, Jackson API provided one class called object mapper. Object mapper is equal to new object mapper. Object mapper is equal to new object mapper. Now, by using this object mapper, we can convert object to JSON. Mapper dot write object. Mapper dot write object. Object mapper is equal to new object mapper. Mapper dot method will be available. Read value, write value. Read value, write value. Now output string and object value. So here I'm giving a file and value. Okay. So new file. So in which file you want to store that data? I'm giving the new file with a name called customer.json, and I want to convert this customer object to the JSON format. That's it. Right. So as we are using the file object, it is giving a exception. Use the throws declaration, throws exception. Got it. Fine. Write value and read value methods are available. So by using them, we can convert our object to JSON format. System.out.println completed. Guys, is there any difficulty in the code? Is there any difficulty in the code now? Customer C is equal to new customer, customer ID, customer name, customer email ID. And we are converting this customer object to the JSON format. So for that, we are using object mapper. Mapper is equal to new object mapper. We created the object for the class. Mapper.write value. We are using the file. So this customer object data should be converted to JSON format and store that JSON data into customer.json file. Then write system.out.println that conversion got complete. System.out.println conversion got complete. Let's run this. So check it in our application currently. Is there any JSON file available? In our application currently, there is no JSON file. Right click, run as Java application. Now, see this, it is completed. Refresh this project, guys. The file should be created. Yes, you can see that customer.json file got created. Open this JSON file. Now you see customer data is converted to JSON. If you want to see in the proper structure, Control-Shift-F. Now that customer object data is converted to customer JSON. Are you guys able to understand? Are you guys able to understand? Are you guys able to understand? Customer data, we are able to convert into customer JSON. Right? Customer class is available. We have three variables in that class. We are able to convert that customer object to the customer JSON by using object mapper. By using object mapper. Okay. Now we are having a pom.xml file. Now object is converted to JSON format. Are you able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? Now, similarly, can we convert JSON data back to the Java object? Guys, can we convert JSON data back to Java object? Can we convert JSON data back to Java object? Yes. Now, let us go to JSON to Java conversion. New class, convert JSON to object. Convert JSON to object. Okay. So let's go for a main method. Let's go for a main method. Now, where is our JSON file is available? File F is equal to new file. For that, we will go for customer.json. File F is equal to new file, that is customer.json. Now, again, we need to convert that JSON back to Java object. For that, we will use a class called object mapper. Object mapper is equal to new object mapper. Okay, mapper dot read value. Mapper dot read value. The value is available inside the file. That data is belongs to customer dot class. The data is belongs to customer dot class. So it is giving some exception. Let me ignore that exception. Now we are giving customer object. System dot out dot println of customer. So here I'm converting JSON data back to Java object. JSON conversion to Java object. JSON data to Java object. Are you guys clear with my point? Guys, look at this code. The logic to convert JSON to Java and Java to JSON by using Jackson API. So when we are developing the REST APIs, right? Consumer application will convert object to JSON, will send to the provider application. Provider application also will convert JSON to Java, Java to JSON as part of the execution. So what will happen in the background when we want to work with the REST APIs? So whatever the object data is available, that object data will be converted to this is JSON format. Whatever the JSON format is available, that will be converted to object format. Come on, guys. Are you guys clear with the JSON format? This is the dependency. Okay. This is the dependency that you need to add in order to work with the JSON to Java application. Okay. Then after, I'm taking one customer class. For this customer class, you can write some setters, getters, and you can write some constructors, setters and getters. or you can use Lombok. Then after, I have two classes. One is to convert my Java object to JSON format, convert object to JSON. That JSON data I'm storing into a file. Then after that file data, I'm converting back to Java object. That file data I'm converting back to Java object. Okay, good. Guys, are you able to follow me? Any confusion in this project? Guys, any confusion in this project? JSON to Java object, read value is the method. The JSON data is available in the file. It is not a Spring Boot project, guys. It is a normal Maven project. It is not a Spring Boot project. It is a Maven project. I created one Maven project. In the Maven project, I have added Jackson dependency. Okay. Then I have taken one customer class. In that class, there are three variables available. I'm converting that object to JSON. First, I'm creating the object for the customer class. In that object, I'm storing the data. Then I'm using object mapper. Then I am calling a method called write value method. That object data is converted to JSON and stored into the JSON file. Then convert JSON to Java. So we are having a method called read value method. That method is going to take the file data and it is converting into the customer class object. That object we are printing and we are able to see the data which is coming from JSON to Java object. Now you see here, when I run this application, the JSON data is converted to Java object. The data coming from the JSON file and represented in the Java object format. Are you guys able to follow me? So with this, we understood what is JSON, how to work with JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. In the distributed applications, we will use JSON as a mediator between consumer and provider. Okay. JSON is interoperable and it is very lightweight. JSON will represent data in the key value format. To convert Java object to JSON, JSON to Java object, we will use Jackson API. Jackson is a third-party library. By using this Jackson, write value, read value, not method object, guys. Write value and read value is the method which is available here. Got my point? So how to work with Java with Jackson API example. Java with Jackson API. Okay. So Jackson is a third-party API. We want to use that Jackson API in our Java application so that Java object data can be converted to JSON. JSON data can be converted to Java. So for that, I have taken a class. This is the dependency we are using for that. Then this is the logic to convert object to JSON. This is the logic to convert JSON to Java object. I hope it is clear for everyone now. Right, guys. So with this knowledge, now we can develop our REST APIs by using Spring. So we understood what is the distributed application, why we need to go for distributed application, what is the distributed architecture, what is the provider, what is the consumer, what is interoperability, and why we need to use the JSON. So remember, consumer and provider will communicate by using JSON as a mediator. Consumer is one application, provider is another application. The application which is giving the services to other applications is called provider application. The application which is taking the services from the other applications is called as consumer application. So before going to start REST API development using Spring Boot, anybody having any questions on this? Now we understand JSON also, how to convert the Java object to JSON format. Guys, anybody having any questions on this? Anybody having any questions? Could you please type in the chat box? Anybody having any questions on the JSON application development? Please type in the chat box. I will clarify your questions before going to start our REST API development. No questions, huh? Very good. Now, guys, we are going to develop REST API. We are going to develop the REST API. When we are going to develop REST API, what we are going to see? Guys, as part of this REST API development, we are going to use several annotations. REST API development using Spring Boot. So we are going to develop REST API, nothing but a distributed application by using Spring Boot. So in order to develop the REST APIs by using Spring Boot, we need to use Web Starter. We need to use Web Starter dependency in form.xml. Already in the WebMVC, we used Web Starter to develop web applications. Similarly, in order to develop distributed applications also, we are going to use Web Starter. We need to use Web Starter dependency in the form.xml. As part of REST API, I mean to say provider. As part of REST API development, we will use below annotations. In order to develop a REST API by using Spring Boot, we are going to use below annotations. What are those annotations? We will be using one annotation called @REST controller. What is that, guys? We are going to use one annotation called @REST controller. First thing is, if you want to develop a REST API by using Spring Boot, you need to use Web Starter dependency in the form.xml. We need to use Web Starter dependency in the form.xml. Okay. As part of this REST API development, we will use below annotations. One is @REST controller. What is @REST controller? It will represent our Java class as a REST controller, distributed component. It will make our application as a, it will make our class as a distributed component, @REST controller. Then second one, we are going to use a annotation called @request param to read the query parameters. And we will use @path variable. And we will use we will use at the rate request body, and we will be using at the rate get mapping, at the rate get mapping, at the rate post mapping, at the rate put mapping, at the rate delete mapping, at the rate post mapping, at the rate put mapping, at the rate delete mapping. So like this, there are several annotations we are going to use is as part of our REST API provider development. Guys, first we are going in this architecture, first we are going to learn provider development. What is the meaning of a provider? The application which is giving services to other application is called as a provider application. So inside the provider application, we are going to use REST controller. So what is this REST controller? REST controller is used to represent our class as a distributed component. REST controller will represent our class as a distributed component. Then request param will be available to read path query parameters at the rate REST controller to make our class as distributed component. Nothing but other applications can access. If our class is a distributed component, other applications can access our class, right? To make our class as distributed component for B2B communication. Okay. At the rate request param. What is the purpose of this? To read query parameters from URL. To read query parameters from the URL, which will be available in the key value format. Query parameters, if you want to read from the URL, then we will use the annotation called request param annotation. Next one, path variable. What is the purpose of path variable? To read path parameters. To read path parameters. Okay. So it is used to read the path parameters, path variable. Then at the rate request body. What is the purpose of at the rate request body? To read data from request body. So whenever client is sending, consumer is sending the data in the body, then we are going to use this annotation to read the data coming from the request body. Then get mapping. To map REST controller method to HTTP GET request. Okay. So whenever we are developing a REST controller provider application, so in the provider application, REST controller will be available. In the REST controller, we will map our method to HTTP GET request. Then what is POST request? To map REST controller method to HTTP POST request. What is put mapping? To map method to HTTP put request. Then to map REST controller method to HTTP delete request. Get to post to put to delete. Like this, we are having several methods here. As part of REST API development, we are going to use below annotations. Can you please read the annotations, guys? REST controller, request param, path variable, request body, get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, and delete mapping. To make our class as a distributed component, we will use at the rate REST controller annotation. To read query parameters from the URL, we will use request param annotation. To read path parameters from the URL, we will use path variable. To read data from the request body, we will use request body annotation. To map REST controller method to get request, we will use get mapping. To map REST controller method to post request, we will use post mapping. To map REST control method to put request, we will use put mapping. To map this method to delete request, we will use delete map. Are you guys able to follow me? So what is the dependency we need to use in the Spring Boot application to develop a provider, guys? We need to use web starter dependency in the pom.xml. As part of REST API development, we will use below annotations. Please read these annotations once, all of you. Guys, all of you, please read these annotations. get, post, put, delete. Get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, delete map. Okay, now let's go here and let us develop one simple REST API. Let us develop one simple REST API. File, new. Let us create Spring Starter project. Okay, so I'm going to create REST API. Good. Spring Boot REST API. We are creating one REST API by using Spring Boot. I'm using Maven as a build tool, group ID in that Ashok IT, artifact ID, and package name, base package I'm giving as in that Ashok. So I'm creating one Spring Boot application. I'm giving the name as Spring Boot REST API, Maven as a build tool, packaging as jar, Java version 17, language is Java, package I'm using in that Ashok IT. Click on next. Click on next. Now, dependencies. As we are developing Spring Boot application, we need to select some starters required for the application. So to develop the REST API, we are going to use Spring Web Starter. So as I told you, Spring Web Starter we need to use. Can you read the message about the Web Starter? By using this Web Starter, you can build web application, you can build RESTful applications using MVC, and it will provide Apache Tomcat as the default embedded content. It will provide Apache Tomcat as a default embedded content. So click on next and click on finish. That's it. I have taken just Web Starter in my project. I have taken just Web Starter in my project. The project is getting created. Go to pom.xml. Spring Boot application we are creating. Web Starter we are taking for the Spring Boot application. No other dependencies. We have taken only Web Starter, guys. Now, let's go here. We have seen that start class is also created. Very good. Now, we need to develop one REST controller. New class. So let me keep a package as REST. I'm keeping this as message REST controller. Message REST controller. So I have created one Java class. I want to make this class as a REST controller. For that, I'm using @REST controller annotation. So if you use annotation called @REST controller, that means this class is used for B2B communication. This class is used for B2B communication. You send the request to this class method. That method will give you direct response. There is no UI, guys. There is no UI. We are developing backend application. That means we are developing our provider application. What is the meaning of a provider application? Which will give services to other application. Provider application means the application which will give the services to other application is called as a provider application. So currently we are trying to develop provider application. Currently we are trying to develop provider application. Got it? Now, so I have created one REST controller. Inside this REST controller, we can write the methods. Public string get message. Public string get welcome message. So whatever the message you want to send, you can send it. String message is equal to welcome to REST API. Welcome to REST API. Then return this message. So like this. There is no UI, guys. There is no UI. Our method will return direct response to the client. How client will access this method? Let us map our method to HTTP request using URL pattern. Get mapping /welcome. Get mapping /welcome. That's it. So this is one REST API. which contains a REST controller. REST controller is nothing but it will provide direct response to the client. Inside this REST controller, you can write any number of methods. Inside the REST controller, you can write any number of methods. So in this REST controller, I have taken one method which is mapped to get request, and it is mapped to /welcome URL pattern. It is mapped to /welcome URL pattern. It is returning message as a response directly. It is returning message as a response directly. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? Public string get welcome message /welcome is the URL pattern. Welcome to REST API. Now let us run this application. Refresh, run as boot application. So as we know that when you add a web starter, by default you will be getting Apache Tomcat as a embedded container. By default you will be getting Apache Tomcat as a embedded container. Okay, good. Application started. Now you can see that my application started, which is using Tomcat as an embedded container with the port number 8080. As this REST controller having a method which is mapped to get request, you can test it from the browser also, or you can test it from the Postman also. Now go to the browser, localhost 8080/welcome. Now you see directly we are getting the response. There is no UI. There is no UI. But in general, REST APIs will be tested. The provider application is ready. So here in this architecture, we are developing a provider. So provider, we will test it by using Postman. The provider will be tested by using Postman. Now go to Google and download Postman tool. Okay. So you need to download Postman for Windows. Download Postman for Windows. It is free software, guys. You can download that Postman software for Windows. Here, the link is available. Copy link address. So if you are using Windows operating system, using this link, you can download Postman tool. Now, so in my system, already that Postman tool is available. Let me open my Postman tool. Let me open my Postman tool. Let me open the Postman tool. All right. Now, once you go to the Postman tool, you can see here like this. So clear all the history that whatever I have, I'm clearing that. Okay, good. Now inside this Postman tool, guys, inside the Postman tool, you can test your REST API functionality. You can test your REST API functionality. So how you want to test it? We have a REST controller. Inside the REST controller, there is a method available. That method is mapped to get request. Go to the Postman, then select the request what you want to send. I want to send a get request. What is your URL? My application running in the local machine, localhost 8080/welcome. Click on send. Now you see, I'm able to get the success response from the REST API. Welcome to REST API 200. Okay. So I'm able to get the success response from the REST API. Are you guys able to follow me? How to create our first REST API, which is giving simple text message as a response. That's it. So JSON response, we will see later point of time. First, we need to understand how to create our simple REST API and how to test that REST API by using Postman. Are you guys clear with this point? Are you guys clear with this point? How to create a simple REST API and how to test that REST API by using Postman? Yes, what we have done, Today, I created one simple project. I added web starter as a dependency. Then I created one simple REST controller in the project. Inside the REST controller, I have added a method. That method is mapped to get request, get mapping with / welcome as a URL path. Can we write one more method, guys? Inside this REST API, yes, public string get greet message. Public string get greet message. String message is equal to some good morning. Message is equal to some good morning. Return that message from this method. Okay, let us write the annotation @get mapping / greet. Inside one REST controller, I'm writing two methods. Both are mapped to get request with a different URL pattern. Both are mapped to get request with a different URL pattern. Are you guys able to follow me? Are you guys able to follow me? Right. Now let us run this application. One method is mapped to get request with / welcome URL pattern. Another method is mapped to get request with the greet URL pattern. Greet URL pattern. Perfect. Okay. Now go here / welcome. It is giving welcome to REST API. Now I want to send another get request with greet URL pattern. Send it. We are getting good morning as a response. So with this, our REST API is working as expected. With this, our REST API is working as expected. Methods should be mapped to URL pattern / welcome / greet. So when you send a get request with / welcome URL pattern, this method will be called. When you send / greet URL pattern, this method will be called. Every method should have unique URL pattern to access. Every method should have unique URL pattern to access. Now, I want to take the person name as the input for the REST API, and I want to give good morning message to that person name. Now, how to take the name? I'm taking here string name. I want to take this string as a request param. Request param nothing but it is a query param. So whatever the name you are giving in the response, I will add that name. In the response, I will add that name. So if you give the name as Ashok, it will give the response as Ashok, good morning. If you give the name as some John, John, good morning. So like this, if you want to send some data to the REST API method in the URL, you can go for a query parameter. As I told you, REST controller is one annotation to make our class as a distributed component. So if you send a request, REST controller method will give you direct response. REST controller method will give you direct response. Then what about the request param? To read query parameters from the URL. Now, I am having greet method, which is expecting name as a request param, nothing but query parameter. So we need to send our name in the URL as a key value. Then we will get the response from that REST API, right? So I'm taking name as a request parameter. Let me run my application. Let me run my application now. Let us send the request for greet question mark name is equal to Ashok. So this is query parameter. So whenever you have a get request method, if you want to send some data to the get request, then you will use a query parameter like this. Question mark name is equal to Ashok. Click on send. Then we are going to get the response as Ashok, good morning. So this is called query parameter. How to send the query parameters? Query parameters we will send to the server in the URL like this. Question mark name is equal to Ashok. How to read those query parameters in the REST controller? To read query parameters in the REST controller, we are using request param annotation. This is the key. By using this key, we are reading this value. If I send the name as some Smith, now I will get the response, Smith, good morning. I'm getting the response as Smith, good morning. Are you guys able to understand our REST controller development? First REST controller we developed. Currently, I'm not dealing with any JSON data in the REST controller, guys. So today, our REST controller is giving just text data as a response. Our REST controller is giving just text data as a response. In the tomorrow session, we will see how to work with JSON data in the REST API. Are you guys able to understand this REST API development? Are you guys able to understand this REST API development? Come on. Good. So fine, guys. So with this, I'm stopping for today. So please practice Jackson API and first REST controller development. So tomorrow we will deal with the JSON data as part of the REST API. Good. Anybody having any questions? You can unmute and you can ask me. Meanwhile,
Hello,
I will update the notes in the portal.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I have one question, sir. As you write the REST controller, here is the multiple number of query are we write, sir? Just like you write the get mapping. In a REST controller, how many mapping writes, sir? And different type
There is
of
no
mapping?
limits. There is no limit, sir. In the REST controller, you can write any number of methods. You can map them to the URL pattern. The only one thing that you need to keep in the mind, every method should have a unique URL pattern.
Another question, sir. Different mapping writes, sir. Just like get mapping, post mapping, and delete mapping.
Sir,
Different type of writes, sir, in one REST controller.
Listen to me. Today is the first class, right? We are
Yeah.
talking about only get request method. In the coming
Yes.
sessions, we will see post, put to delete also.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Okay, sir.
Good morning, sir.
While we are
Very good
converting the
Sir, this is Akhilesh. I want to ask can we change the embedded server, which is Tomcat? Can we change the another one?
Yes, sir. You can change. Already I explained that concept in the Spring Boot. How to change from Tomcat. You are from JRTP?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we already explained that concept in the Spring Boot classes. I will show you. We can change from Tomcat to Jetty also.
Okay, sir.
hello, sir. This is Chinmay, sir.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Hello, sir. While we are converting the Java object to JSON format, the file that we got, whether we have to store in particular folder or it will
Not required, sir. Not required. Just for our understanding purpose, I'm storing in the project. You no need to store in the particular location.
Okay.
It is just to display purpose. To show you that file is created. I have created that file. You can create in any location. It's not an issue.
To create any particular folder, or we have to
No need to create in the particular folder. Not required.
Hello, sir. Ashok here.
Yes.
Sir, any difference between REST API and Spring Boot REST API?
No, sir. REST API, we can REST API, nothing but distributed application. That REST API you can develop by using Spring Boot, you can develop by using Python, you can develop by using .NET, you can develop by using Node.js. REST API is a universal concept, which is a distributed application. You can use any technology to develop the REST API. As we are Java developers, we are developing the REST API by using Spring Boot.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So these videos will be available in the backup videos.
If you are in the videos plan of JRTP, then these videos will be available for you.
Okay, sir. So yesterday video is not there.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yesterday Sunday is a holiday, sir. Today admin will upload that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Sir, hello.
Yes, sir.
Actually, yes, sir.
Yep. Tell me.
Like the Jackson jar is like included in which form, sir? In Spring Boot. In Spring, we have explicitly written code, right?
For which one?
In Spring Boot, the Jackson. In which
Jackson,
form start? Yeah.
We no need to write, sir. I'm not using JSON in the REST API, and tomorrow you will understand how to deal with JSON data in the Spring Boot. Tomorrow example I will do with the JSON data. Today example, only text data we are getting as a response, right?
Okay. Sir, another question is in the consumer application, is there I think there is no business logic, right? In consumer application.
Why not, sir? It will be there in the Make My Trip application. Business logic will be available. That is specific to their application.
Okay. Like I thought just calls the service application.
No, sir. Once I go for the application, I will tell you what logic will be there in the consumer, what logic will be there in the provider. Today is the first application. Just
Okay.
practice JSON format and provider development like this. Tomorrow we will go and develop the REST API with the real-time scenarios. How to take the JSON as the input, how to send the JSON as the output. That we will discuss in the tomorrow session.
Hello, sir.
Yep.
Sir, while converting the JSON object into Java object, how the JSON fields are mapped to the same fields
Key
of the
name
Java
should
object?
key name should be same as a variable name.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Our JSON key name should match with the variable name in the Java class. Then it will do the conversion.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, sir. Roshan here.
Yes.
Yeah. Sir, are you taking Spring Boot classes parallelly, sir?
Yes, sir. This is ongoing Spring Boot batch only, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
All right, guys. Good. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. Please practice Jackson example and the first REST API example today. Tomorrow we'll continue. Tomorrow we'll work on JSON data as an input, as an output in our REST API. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. And I wish you Happy New Year for all of you.